Hello everybody, welcome back to Trash Comps. Today we are playing a Grukli carry team because somebody wanted me to. Alright, so getting into it, going to the perks, we have Bree, and we have some shards here, some speed. We have the fast perk, but I actually don't think that you need it. I'll get into why later. We have the mark perk on Bree, we have full energy, and we are also going to be full block, have a little bit of fortify. You see we're doing a lot with vulnerability because this is going to be primarily a sharp physical base damage team. So vulnerable is only going to affect that physical resistance, but that should be fine because that's all we're going to be doing. Sharp on heroes also does not lose charges. Bree had an open slot for that, so I did it there. Bree is also going to be applying as much powerful as possible, while every hero is going to have the Inspire perk. And we had one extra perk, and instead of gold or shards, I just decided that I wanted one more vitality. Alright, moving on. We have Yogger. Yogger is actually pretty essential for this build in particular. This is a much safer way of doing Grukli. You might have seen it in my All Warriors build, which if you hadn't, Grukli carries kind of arguably even harder in that build. I got a little bit more lucky, but this is still pretty good. We have shards here, speed. We have max speed investment for Yogger because we need him to be faster than Grukli. We have the slow because Yogger's going to be taking the slow wolfy pet. We have a lot of shield or block investment, but we aren't going full in. Yogger's also going to be applying as much vulnerable as possible, an extra sharp charge, an extra fury charge, some bleed. We have full vitality perk here because we want Yogger to be as healthy as possible. A little bit of bless as well, and a little bit of powerful, and of course the inspire perk. Then we also have Grukli, the main carry of this run. So Grukli is going to be having as much shards as I could. We have one less investment on speed because we want him to be slower than Yogger, but still pretty fast. Full energy investment. We have very high physical investment. Grukli is also taking vulnerable and enemies can go up to 7 instead of just 6 and gets reduced less often. Doesn't matter that much. We also have full bleed perks in case I wanted to go bleed. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do this run, but bleed is usually pretty good because he starts with a bleed on hit melee weapon. We also have Fury on this hero, increases damage by 5% per charge. Bleed on this hero deals 50% more damage and can't be prevented by buffer or immunity. That's very important. It lets Grukli do a lot of damage. And we also have the powerful perk at 10%. Main reason we're not going to be struggling with bleed too much is because when this hero gains vitality, it removes bleed. So all the meats and things from Yogger and also Bree's Battle Shout will be removing that bleed, making the bleed damage almost never happen. And yeah, that's the main core of the way that I'm doing it. So rather than utilizing Grukli's bleed to do some extra damage, which is a very viable tactic, I wanted to go for this build instead because it feels a lot easier to pull off. And generally, I just wanted this to be a lot easier. So we also have Andrin. Main notable thing about him, he's doing all our speed manipulation, and he also, well, yeah, he's doing a lot of the speed manipulation. He also has mark on enemies, reduces slashing resistance by 0.3% per charge, because we're going to be doing a lot of slashing damage. That's pretty useful for Grukli. And then we also have vulnerable enemies, only reduces slashing, piercing, and blunt resistances, but by 8% per charge, so vulnerability is just a little bit better. Hopefully with all that, we'll be able to get through reinforce no problem. And that's going to be it for the team. Now I'm going to start on our pre-recorded video. So, starting right away, I noticed that we have a epic event there, and I decided I'm going to be taking that, because why not? So, yeah, I'm going to make this a straw hat run. I'm showing you all the deck changes right now, so if you want to copy the decks, feel free to do it here. I won't be spending too much longer on it, but feel free to pause on any of these decks. These aren't the most optimal, but they're pretty solid. They work well enough for Act 1. And yeah, if you have any better ideas, let me know. It's been a while since I've tried to do a Grukli carry. I haven't think I've done it since they improved his deck and changed what it originally had. So it was definitely a little bit different figuring it out. Andrin's main goal here is to apply a decent amount of mark as well as filter decks as much as he can, while Bree and Yogger want to give Inspire and apply Vulnerable. That is their main role in the early game. though it's a little bit hard to do it consistently because maybe I didn't make the decks in the right way. I don't know, Grukli's deck feels a little bit expensive, and I didn't want to rely on divinations too much, so I decided not to use those. Though I think if you use divinations, it's honestly one of the better things you can do for Grukli's deck. You could get a few more cleaves, some purple cards that could really help out. Here we find a purple Holy Slash, which is pretty nice. On Grukli, that is, and I take a Burning Blood in case we want to use Grukli's Bleed and apply Fury instead of getting rid of it with the Vitality. However, that's a little bit hard of a strategy because anytime we apply Vitality, which we will want to do if we have any premium meats in the deck, it will get rid of that bleed, so it's a little bit mixed bag, and it's one of the reasons that you might not want to go for the Vitality removes bleed, but again, it's a lot safer of an option. It saves you a lot of damage over time. Plus, it's not that meaningful of a difference in the late game. I find that you can get up to 100 Fury fairly easily. And you can see Grukli's doing some really solid damage in the early game. We get a great here, not a excellent, but that's okay. I want to take a Cleave because, I mean, even though I hate Cleave as a card because it's not that strong, I decided that it's really cool. Or it's good enough. Like, it does a lot of AoE. So we take on an extra fight here. One of the other things that was cool about this seed was I was able to go for the Straw Hat build while also taking a Rift. I think you can only do that if you get the perfect alignment of events here, where you need an uncommon event of a personal trainer up top. This pig fight isn't too difficult. We are definitely more of a round 2 team throughout this run. Though we definitely transition into a round 1 team in Act 4 area after we hit level 4 and get the right weapons. I wish that Purple Blade Storm was on Grukli, but it's okay. I'll have to do for now. I take another Piercing Howl on Bree because it makes sense. And again, the main focus is on Grukli doing all of the damage. You could actually get away with a split damage team of Yogger and Grukli and then kind of go all warriors. Maybe even using Laya as a warrior would be pretty neat because she could double as a cleric, get a lot more deck filtering in. You wouldn't have as much mark on the enemies, but I think you'd be doing okay either way. Main goal here was just take out the guy in back so he doesn't slow our entire team into oblivion and make us take a bunch of damage on the next turn. We are a little bit glass cannony. We didn't invest much into resistances or being tanky at all. And our decks are mainly focused on support rather than block for our 2 blockers. But again, all that support lets us kill on turn 2 fairly consistently. And we get a kill here. Andrin is going a mix of Gustav and his Mark build, so it's a little bit different. We take Flail on Yogger because he has melee attacks, so he might as well get an extra draw if he has to use them. Might draw into something that costs 0, which is pretty nice. Take Magic Mushroom because I'm feeling pretty confident about this fight, but this fight ended up being a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Here we're getting rid of Grukli's Sharps. We mainly want him to focus on having attacks in hand and getting sharpened by others, though in this particular instance I wish I had kept some Sharps. We were able to kill one guy, which significantly slows our damage. Now we need to kill the guy who's going to slow us all down, which is the center one who has the wolf. Unfortunately, we're unable to do so, and they get a big attack off. Bree is running real low. We're going to focus down the other 2 enemies before we focus the Dryad. I'm not looking to get all excellence this run, though Grukli as a carrier you certainly could with the right setups. But again, I'm looking for the most consistent and also the most, or like a lot less, what's the word? Critical thinking, I guess, in terms of what you have to do in build orders. So I want an easy team because I've been doing some challenges lately. I was originally going to do like a more sweepy team. Where I try to focus everything, kill on turn 1 excellence, and I was getting it down with Gustav and Laya, but I switched them out for Yogger and Bree for my personal preference of what's easy. Alright, we level up here. We take Onslaught, we go all those sides. I'm not going to go too in depth. It's pretty standard level ups for all their support. We go get the note for the Straw Hat treasure hunt still. Battle Shout's one of our strongest opening moves. It gives us powerful on Grukli, and we want to have 7 powerful every time we have Grukli go. So we are also capable of doing that with other heroes. We have Warpaint opening up in Grukli's hand, which is pretty important. It makes it so that he can get to that 7 with 1 Battle Shout. And we take out a Dryad. We had to take out that Dryad because they would speed up the entire team and make them all faster than us on the next turn. Unfortunately, that meant the Treant could shackle both Yogger and Andrin, so this fight's going to end up being a lot harder. Onslaught does make our deck a lot cheaper though, which is nice. We can get another kill. But we again are going to have to go into round 2 here, or sorry, round 3, in order to get the kill, because I guarantee Yogger and Andrin are not going to get that done on their own. That said, the Dryad and back isn't going to be too difficult to take out. They will apply an enchantment to themselves that will deal damage to us anytime we attack them, but they're not going to get too much of a chance. I messed up my turn order there a little bit, so I'm going to fix that and play Sharp first. That way I can get them killed on round 3 and not have to wait another round. So I look at the options there briefly, but I decide I want the items instead. We get rewarded with a purple wolf skin cloak, which is really good, and a purple short sword, which gives extra sharp. And because Andrin was gonna take on a little bit more sharp cards in general, I decided to go for that. We pick up Yogger's Cleaver on Grukli. It's a mild upgrade over his starting weapon. We get purple Wolfie here, which is actually really big. Means that we're gonna be having that 2 slow and 2 vulnerable applied to all enemies every single turn. And then Grukli gets a Power Glove, so now he's going to be powerful every turn, up to 6 with the Warpaint. Here we don't have the best Wild Hunt turn. All our marks go on to the Treant, who is important to take out. I can get rid of Grukli's Warpaint though, at least, because we aren't going to be needing his excess powerful there. And we want to take out the Dryad as per usual. This fight I'm not really too concerned about. It's more just like if we had a more efficient turn order, we could probably kill him turn 2, or with a less efficient turn order, we'll be killing him turn 3. Here I do the math for a while and realize that there's no way I can attack the big tree as well as kill the other 2, so I opt to finally kill the other 2 in front, because we don't want either of them to be able to go, since they could slow down our entire team or give shackles or speed up the entire enemy team, all of that being bad for us. Here we kind of just play through the thorns. I'm not super worried about it. We have a little bit of block. We can give Reinforce with Battle Shout, which is going to make it so we don't take too much damage from the Thorns base damage card of Yogger. We also get him up to 7 vulnerability. He's got 21 mark on him, so Andrin's still doing a pretty good job on that front. And we have 17 sharp on Grukli right now, which is pretty good. We do a fair amount of damage, but like I said, not as much as I would hope. He does dispel all his marks, so now we have to remark him as much as we can. We're going to attack into him with Andrin. My hope is to kill him this turn. With enough vulnerability on him, which we certainly have, we can definitely do that. And he has 13 marks, so Grukli will at least be a good amount of damage. And unfortunately, we can't kill him quite this turn, so we will have to kill him in round 4. However, round 4 is still an excellent, so we still will be getting the best rewards possible. The shackles on Andrin is a little bit annoying, but he wasn't really necessary for this turn anymore to get the kill. And there we have it. We get an Entrench on Yogger. I kind of wanted that on Bree more so, but we get repetition training on Grukli, which is pretty good. Find weakness on Andrin, which I tend to like, but I usually like it when we don't have as many vulnerable sources, where with Bree and Yogger both applying more vulnerable, we definitely have enough vulnerable sources. Here we're going to go with the green portal first, which I actually think is a mistake. I probably should have done the red portal first and then gone green, because that would have made my life a lot easier. So here I'm going to show all the decks that I have right away, and then I'm going to show the differences between the decks. So all slowed down to normal base speed. So you can see what we ended Act 1 with, and now in a moment you can see what we ended the shop of Act 2 with. We did go with 15 cards in Bree, Yogger, and Grukli's deck. We probably should have done the same for Andrin, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to get rid of. We have an extra sharp. We made sharp apply to other heroes for Grukli. We didn't actually change Grukli's deck too much. Unfortunately, it didn't get that much more powerful, but Andrin did get a upgrade on that Chant of Accuracy so that we can get it from the discard pile, as well as a Scavenge upgrade. Here we do want to change Entrench to have 1 Fortify, because that will be useful at some point in the future, probably is what I was thinking, but honestly it might have been better to have it at just the 4 cost instead. honestly, it's debatable how useful that was, given all the energy that we spent getting there. Mainly, I was hoping to get some extra energy on Yogger through cards like Blood Rage or something, and it just wasn't happening. So, yeah. Turns out that was a little bit ambitious to make it a 5-cost entrench. That said, our main goal here is to take out the squirrel, because the squirrel's going to be slowing down our entire team with some frost, and I didn't want him to do that. We'll be taking damage from the others, and it's not too much damage, so I think that we can recover with Vitality application. That is one of the nice things about having Yogger, is we do get some heals with all that Vitality. We also get heals with Bree, especially after level 4, and at that point, at level 4 is really when our team, like, fully pops off and gets really strong. Here we do have a little bit of blood feeding healing on Yogger. Since we are applying bleed on hit with Grukli, I think it works out pretty well, though that said, enemies don't usually live that long to have enough, like a ton of bleed on them. I do get lucky and get a blood rage on Grukli. I do pass up an adrenaline on Andrin, because normally he has way too much energy. We get a purple teal mask, which will start us with 6 sharp every turn, and then we have purple war banner, so Bree every turn will be applying 4 powerful to all our heroes. At this point, we now no longer need war paint on Grukli, because he will be having powerful up to max on turn 1 every time, and probably on the rest of the turns in the future as well, if we have any battle shouts. Not the best opening hand from Andrin. We get a little bit of mark, we have a little bit of honorable, and he did apply 4 sharp to Grukli, but we are now at 10 sharp, 16 sharp with Grukli, with the 2 extra sharps on Yogger, and that's going pretty well. Main goal here was just to kill an enemy. That way we don't take too much damage. We killed the one that was going to go stealth and get rid of some mark, so it's pretty nice overall. Here is a better pop-off turn. This is why Andrin's deck is actually more geared towards turn 2, is because we can draw a lot more cards and play a lot more cards, so we can get up to 35 mark on the big boss, 27 mark on the guy in back, and that's going to be more than enough for Grukli to be able to kill. The rest of this is just gravy, because we also have that 7 vulnerability on all the enemies without playing our purple wolf shout. So, very good indeed. Infuriate on Yogger is not what I want. Would have taken it on Grukli though, of course, because that'd be really fun. The rest of those cards don't look that interesting to me. We are going to take the extra loot. Nothing too special here, but we can get some garnet earrings on Yogger and some primal necklace on Grukli, so it applies a little bit more bleed. We're going to take the free bow up, thanks to helping out the crocmen and taking out the lizards. That way we can get to the treasure hunting spot. So this team is pretty good overall. Like, I'm not too worried about most challenges. There's a few that are a little bit tough. Hexproof isn't actually one of them. I think the hardest ones would be things like Meteor, because we kill turn 2, even though we can kill an enemy turn 1. We're gonna struggle a bit in the first in the first like 2.5 acts. That said, we're not struggling too much right now, and we are having to face those hard challenges. So, and thankfully I'm not doing a all Corruptors challenge, and that's great because I'm not going with the most meta of builds, which require a little bit more thought on my part just because I haven't done them as much, and I like to just switch up my team compositions every now and then. That said, you could totally find Andrin and Bree on all the most meta of builds. Here we get a nice entrench on Bree. And you see we have that turn 2 setup down pretty well. We're going to Tactician, going to have Offensive Mastery, and we're going to have Momentum on Andrin. So now Yogger's going to be shuffling meats into everybody's deck. This makes us Grukli can almost never take bleed damage, which is very nice, and then we'll have more opportunities for premium meat, which can both up his sharp charges as well as his fury charges, which is primarily what we're going to be wanting it for. And as you can see, we're more than 7 vulnerability application on all enemies, almost all the time. The Crocmen do come back for vengeance, as I did steal from their village, which is actually just a net gain for us. It's a little extra combat event, so it gives us a few more card rewards, as well as a little bit of extra experience. Not that we needed it, because we already leveled up, but it's nice to have nonetheless. That premium meat is coming in here. Unfortunately, with only 2 fury, we will never increase the fury charges with premium meat. I think we have to have at least 3, I think it rounds up from 3, maybe 4, and then we can start increasing it with premium meat. So yeah, not that it's going to be necessary because we have more than enough damage. And remember, each Fury charge is 5% damage, which could be what each powerful charge feels like. So each Fury charge is basically a powerful charge if you didn't have the all-powerful is 10%. Here I do take a relatively hard challenge. I am going to admit that I lost once on this fight because I didn't prioritize enemies correctly, and the one enemy that got to go before Grukli on turn 2 did end up freezing him, and that made it so that the rest of the fight was lost, since Grukli is the only one who can deal damage on our team. But that is by design, because I wanted Grukli to do the most damage. Here we are making liberal use of Cleave. We almost kill the entire enemy team. If our deck was a little bit better set up, if we'd been getting some Carnages or some other AoE cards that were better, like Whirlwind, I think we could do even more damage on turn 1, and we'd be prioritizing Expert Tracker and probably a extra Trace on Andrin for turn 1 so that we could further filter Grukli's deck. As it stands, though, this time the enemy that goes first does not freeze Grukli. He freezes Andrin. And now we're going to be A-okay because Grukli's going to be able to go and wipe out the entire enemy team. So yeah, a little bit tricky of a fight, but all things considered, I definitely did it to myself and relied on a little bit of luck. But we did do it for a shop, and we get rewarded with a purple bell. So now Andrin can start with stanza 2, which is pretty neat, because that lets us take things like Ballad of Conquest so that we can apply Powerful and Sharp and Bless to the entire team. Unfortunately, I don't have increased Bless charges on Andrin, but to be fair, I wasn't really expecting to go with Ballad of Conquest. That's more just a happenstance, like, oh, that worked out, let's do it. Here I'm opting to take out Eyeballs because I didn't think I could take out the big guy in one turn, so I wanted to make sure that I had less chance to be weakened. Unfortunately, Grukli was still targeted for that weak on the random hero attack, so he will be doing 50% less damage than he otherwise would, which is sad for me. But we have 3 turns to get the Excellent for the best rewards, and we most likely will because we have a lot of draw at this point. We're actually getting up to 10 cards every turn. And I power him up as much as possible. We kill the Eyeball. We kill almost all of the Dredge guy's health. But he gets to survive and do a lot to us. And then Yogger's Wolf takes him out with a little lightning shock. We want change weapon because we want to be searching for a card later on. We get the nice warrior heal card where they heal for a ton, give themselves energize, and dispel all bad things on them, on Bree, which I take just for a little bit of safety and a little bit of healing between fights. Here we're going to take Bloodseeker on Yogger. We get lucky too with a Lapis Necklace, so Andrin can finally be faster. That was one of the things we were running into, was we weren't finding any speed items until just now. With speed items, this would have been actually quite a bit easier because we could have given Bree a little bit more speed as well and had Andrin be faster than all enemies guaranteed. So our life just got a lot easier. The extra bleed from Bloodseeker is also hilarious. It applies like a ton of bleed. I think I'm applying like 7 per hit. It's not good on everything, but it is pretty decent. And in the chance that enemies get to survive long enough to take all that bleed damage, they get to go. You see we have 62 bleed on the back Harpy, but we did not get the kill. So unfortunately everything gets to go, and Andrin does get silenced, and the Bull gets to go first because they sped themselves up so much. So we're actually really, really hurt. Arguably, I should have tried a different turn order there, or tried to re-roll and kill the Harpy. Because Bree is really low, and we're going to have a hard time healing that up, though I'm going to try as much as I can with Vitality. We want to also power up Grukli enough to kill all the enemies. Ideally, we kill off all the enemies before Bree has to go, because Bree's going to take a lot of damage from poison and bleed, but she takes that damage anyways. And then I realized, oh wait, actually we got to heal up a lot because Bree got to go, thanks to that heal card I put in her deck. So, paying off already. Here we do get the free upgrade though, which is why I took the challenge in the first place. And we upgrade a lot of our most expensive cards to upgrade, Repetition Training being one of them that I want for Grukli so that things go back into his hand. Entrench also was upgraded so that we could have Bree also apply Fortify, though again, having the energy to do so will be a little bit hard. I would say our card luck was actually pretty bad overall. There's a lot better cards you can get on everyone. This is a lot more of a straightforward, like, we're buying most of the best cards in our deck. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Can't always get super lucky. We take the thorns here, which may have been a little bit of a mistake because we're a little bit low on health and it might have been nicer to heal up, but I did want to see what the shop had to offer, because shops can be really fun. My main goal is to kill the Lamia, who's going to speed up the entire team and also apply Purge and Slow to a hero. Unfortunately, though, that does mean that all these enemies get to live, and they all are going to be applying slows in their own way, and the big priest in back is going to be healing himself up. Thankfully, I had to retry this fight like 3 times, by the way. Thankfully, I applied just enough bleed to him so when he goes on first on round 2 and kills like our entire team, instead he just dies by the bleed damage. So, yeah. Barely scraped through this one, but it does mean that we are very low for the Hydra fight, so I'd like to heal up a lot more than I currently am, even at the cost of potential excellence or what have you. We aren't getting that much opportunity to heal. I'm going to be applying those premium meats to Bree as much as possible. We have a lot of block. We have the second wind for healing. So now my main concern is having Andrin have enough health to survive 2 turns of the Hydra, because I think I'm going to need at least 2 turns to take out all of the Hydras, if not more, in order to do it consistently and safely. Here, I don't take the piercing how. We do get really lucky with a noble shield. Yeah, our item luck has been pretty solid. Our card luck has been bad. We could have better items too. Honestly, these aren't the best items, but pretty solid. We got a lot of purples that we like. Noble Shield we take instead of the speed on Bree, which might be a little bit of a mistake. I think that actually ends up hurting in this fight a bit, but it does give us extra draw every time we play defense, so it'll be much better in the long run. And we do have Song of Celerity, so we can get a little bit more speed later on. Here I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, whether I want to do the Wild Hunt or Marks, or interesting strategy. I think I meant to draw into the Wild Hunt there. I just realized. I could have actually had that earlier without having to scavenge it, and then I could have applied Mark to the entire enemy team by scavenging out the apply Mark to the entire enemy team. Okay, that was a little bit of a mistake. Sorry, just noticing that. Noticing my failure there. Could have done this fight a little bit better, it looks like. Here, we do have a lot of Blood Rages now, which is nice because Grukli needs the energy, even though we do have attacks costing 1 less every time we draw them in our opening hand. We unfortunately don't have the kill on the Frost guy, but we will get it with a slice. 1 singular slice can do the work. Andrin at least survives into round 2, even if he's not going to survive the entirety of round 2, so he can apply a little bit more sharp, make sure the Frost guy is going to go down. Though I think Grukli would have done that anyways, and yeah, unfortunately the poison guy does get to go. We aren't going to be fast enough to outspeed him and attack him before he goes invulnerable, so we're going to at least round 3 here. We do have a lot of vulnerable on all these enemies though, so we're not going to be in too much trouble. We do also get an entrenched, so now I'm feeling pretty safe with 100 block on everybody. I think we can survive. Basically what I'm hoping is just going to be 2 of the Hydra's hits. This is our big kind of wombo combo turn. We have 30 sharp, 13 fury, and 7 powerful. So we are doing a ton of damage every single hit. And we are able to kill all the Hydras except for the invulnerable one. Honestly, if he wasn't invulnerable, we might have been able to kill him too. But he doesn't do too much aside from apply a ton of poison to our entire team. So Andrin does die. We probably died because we went a little bit greedy with all our shops and upgrades, but might have been worth it in the long run because we have a fair amount of gold, but not as many shards. And like I said, our card luck has been pretty rough. So getting free upgrades has been very nice. And the shop that we found gave us some of those purples, which would be nice in the long run. So we round 3. If we had a little bit better speed or a little bit better other stuff, we could do more. We get Battle of Conquest here. Wrong type, but we can change that going into the next act. And Andrin can actually play it, which is really nice. Now, we also find an Amulet of Speed, which is pretty cool. I debated whether I wanted to get it on Bree and make sure that she was really fast, or if I wanted to make sure Andrin was always very fast and had 25 speed, which is very important for the late game. Extremely important for the late game, honestly. And yeah, we have a mixed salad, which also gives us 1 extra draw on any hero of our choice every turn, but we have a lot of good potion slots already. So I give it to Yogger, because I was basically just using a pufferfish as an extra draw every other turn. So every turn makes salad much better than a boss item that gives you draw every other turn. I mean, the boss item has like some damage and stuff, but yeah, it's pretty funny. So here I got really excited because I saw Endless Bag, Hunter's Ring, and all those other good items, and I'm like, man, that should be good, but nope, not that great. Here I'm showing all the decks that we had at the end of Act 2. So you can see them. Andrin is, of course, hurt with those injuries. We are going to be getting rid of those because we want the deck to be more consistent. We spend a fair amount of money, but we actually don't buy any of those because all our accessory slots are pretty full. I don't want Bree switching off of the banner just yet, not until we get the straw hat. Though arguably I could do that, be a little bit weaker in this act, and then also have an Endless Bag on Bree for the later parts of Acts 4 and 4.5 and the final boss. But I figured I was going to be so strong anyways, I didn't need it. Hunting Ring I also can't take on Andrin, unfortunately, because I need him to have the speed. So, yeah, it might be a little bit of a misplay, but I'm feeling okay about it. I buy a Lantia on Grukli, so now we're full up on pets. I do fully intend to save my pets this run. Unfortunately, we are going to be facing a bunny, but also, fortunately, we are going to be faster than the bunny with Andrin, and very, very luckily, we get the slowdown on the bunny with the demon here. That changed the whole dynamic of this fight. I was expecting to take a ton of damage on this fight, and honestly, maybe even lose a hero or two. But fortunately, we hit that slowdown on the bunny, so it means we can make them all slow enough that we can probably get the kill on the bunny with Grukli. Yeah. We do that, and since the bunny doesn't get to go, they don't get to speed up their entire team to be faster than us, like, permanently. And life is good. So we're not going to be taking as much damage as we otherwise would, because round 2 we would have just taken a ton here. That said, the priest still does speed themselves up quite a bit, but thankfully they go in more of a defensive stance, and we don't have to worry about it too much. Yeah, here I heal up on Bree. Get enough sharp on Grukli. We're up to 40 sharp on turn 2, so we're getting that sharp up even faster. This is one of the reasons I didn't think I needed Gustav. I did decide, like, I was debating between Gustav and Andrin for a while. With Gustav, I probably could have gotten up to 50 bless in the aim game as well, but then you wouldn't have that 50 mark on enemies, so, and that also reduces their piercing resistance, so, you know, they seemed equal in my mind. We do get the upgrade pet here. I'm going here specifically for a reason. I almost never go here. But because I wasn't sure of how my item drops were going to be in the future, I did want to get a special melee weapon for Grukli that'll allow him to get Fury every time he plays a melee attack twice per turn. Which, yeah. Spoilers, that does end up being the weapon I use throughout the end game. There is a better one that you can get through shops or just regularly in a Gladiator's Claws or something, Beast Claws. You could also get Gladiator's Helmet, which would be pretty amazing. But here, I had no such luck. So, I definitely I made the right choice going for the Edge of Fury here. Not that you can go this path if you're doing anything like a score run, but I don't really do score runs, so... Despite my last 2 attempts at having my highest scores ever, more just, it ended up working out that way, that was like an optimal path to go. I like to go the optimal path for teams, or at least what I perceive as an optimal path for them. Usually there's 1 or 2 for every team. And yeah, we do pretty well. We get a lot of cards that are kind of neat. I take a Carnage on Yogger because I figure he can do damage in the late game. Here's that Edge of Fury, that melee weapon that I'm going to be using on Grukli. Arguably, Bloodseeker was also very, very solid, but I wanted to have that extra Fury application and make sure that we were going high on Fury every single act. You could go through the middle there if you want to take a really, really high risk item engagement, but like I wanted the money and shards that are going to come through taking the bottom path here. I am unable to play at Ballad of Conquest because I played Andrin's turn slightly wrong in the beginning. Again, not too worried about it, just a little bit of inoptimal play. I figure I'll be able to survive just fine, but I will take a little bit more damage here probably because I didn't play Andrin's turn optimally. Arguably having Bree go before Andrin would be better as well, because giving him draw is kind of better than giving Bree draw in the beginning. Well, mainly Andrin doesn't give Bree draw is the problem. So having Bree give Andrin draw would be really nice for the setup. It'd probably make this whole team a lot smoother. So in retrospect, I might have wanted to have Bree carry all the speed items still. But it's fine as is. We are going to be doing okay in this fight. It is round 2 now, so we have our wombo combo turn. We're going to make everything cheaper. And I bought Carnage. I forgot to mention that. God, it's been so long. Hey, look, a whirlwind. That's the one. That's the whirlwind that I want on Grukli. I bought Carnage early on in this act because I really want. We have Purple Blood Ridge there too. Sorry, spazzing out. I bought Carnage because play along with this game if you want. I was feeling I would feel bad if I got another whirlwind because I only want one whirlwind in Grukli's deck. But I won't feel bad to have 2 Carnages in Grukli's deck, so I bought that first. Here we do get the golden shards. I was completely wrong about where it was going to be. We get the level up on Yogger. I'm going to have him apply more damage and bleed because I was feeling fine on the block. I didn't really feel like we needed it. So Yogger could do a little bit more here and be as healthy as possible and do a ton of damage. One of the reasons we took the Vitality perk was so we could go more damaging if we felt we wanted it. Not that he's going to be doing a ton of damage, but, you know, something's better than nothing. Here, this fight's a pretty easy fight. We do want to go this area, by the way, because this is part of where we need to go for the Straw Hat. We need to grab the black key that's going to be found here. I didn't have enough damage to kill anything else, unfortunately, on that turn, but I do kill the most damaging enemy, who would be applying fire to my entire team. You might notice we're also very weak on having dispels. Basically, nobody dispels anything except for giving vitality to Grukli, and then Bree has her 1 dispel all card. But yeah, there we do have Burning Blood actually get pulled off on Grukli, so we give him, he's at 23 Fury now, which is pretty fun. Definitely a strat you can utilize a lot more than I am doing, but it's also not a strat that's very necessary in the late game for Grukli, which will become very apparent. Getting another round 2, not having too much trouble. There's an upgraded Carnage, which I was like, well, if I'm going to run 1 Carnage in Yogger's deck, I might as well run an upgraded Carnage and get rid of the one that I took that was unupgraded before. We level up the rest of our heroes here. Grukli's going to get his double attack, add Fury. Andrin's going to get a useless card that just makes it so that he blocks more and applies mark to anything that hits his block, while Bree is going to get a really good card in the form of apply a powerful and heal up the entire team by 5%, but it's not a heal, so it's like recover or something, so it doesn't actually get mitigated by the reduction of heal on Madness 16. Yeah, the Stampede card, or whatever you call it, I think it's not Stampede, I think Stampede's the other one. It gives powerful vitality to the entire team, as well as damage mitigation and that healing that I just mentioned. So, very solid overall. Here my strategy is just to focus down the middle driver's seat in the center, because if you kill that on this boss fight, it does end the fight. I take a lot more damage than I was expecting. I maybe should have focused a little bit more on block at the start of this fight. Entering with those severe burns hasn't been helping. And yeah, it's a little bit sketchy here. I do get to heal up a lot on Bree, which is nice, and then Grukli, just because he's getting all those premium meats, gets to heal up a lot. So now I also focus on healing up Andrin with premium meats as I can. And yeah, we heal up fairly well after taking so much damage. A large part of that being Bree's heal card that I mentioned. We were able to get through all of the block. I ended up taking out all the other enemies because of just Carnage. It hits random enemies. Had I had Whirlwind, I probably could have ended this fight on that very turn. But that's not how it goes. So here Carnage actually is doing a lot of damage on Yogger too. So we are able to kill the boss with just that one fight. We got a battle plan on Yogger, which is pretty nice. We have another bell, which is kind of funny. But ultimately, I don't think any of the items here are really worth taking, so we aren't going to take any of them. We also got a beer cup on Grukli, which is pretty good. It's another way for him to apply Fury to himself. It does apply Slow and Insanity to himself as well, but anytime he plays a skill, which we do have several skills giving him energy, he'll be applying 2 Fury to himself. So, pretty solid. Or 3 Fury, actually, I think, with his upgraded perk. I could be wrong. Either way, it's good. more damage on Grukli without him having to expend his attacks first. So we're now pretty full up. We do have dual wield on Carnage, which is one of the reasons that I was okay with buying Carnage here first. Was you could dual wield a Whirlwind, probably wipe out the entire enemy team on turn 1. But even dual wielding a Carnage, you can see you can wipe out most of the team on turn 1. And that usually will make it so you don't take too much damage and can kill them turn 2 just fine. And you get the same combat card boards anyways, so there wasn't too much of a risk in going with the Carnage strat rather than taking the Whirlwind. It just would have meant I had a much smoother act going into Act 3. So yeah, it's like each their own. Grinding Wheel would be nice to find on Bree or Yogger, but not on Grukli, so we don't take it here. We're going to go for the hatch upgrade here because I figure I could use some upgrades. It'd be kind of fun. And I also figure that I'm strong enough to do this, though it does make the fight a little bit more sketchy because turns out having a lot of your draws messed up really hurts. So we unfortunately get the worst timing on the draws for Hatch 2, where it happens on everybody on turn 1. So we get a really rough turn 1 where everybody's drawing 4 cards and we don't have that much Inspire. Yeah. We do get to double up on Carnage, but again, because everybody had such a rough time, we don't have a lot of mark on the enemies. There was not even, or there was a good amount of vulnerable, but yeah, not a lot of sharp either. So we just kind of had a really rough start, where we also didn't provide too much block. We got unlucky with our card draws too. So yeah, in retrospect, this challenge was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Partially because of the card draws, partially because, largely because of card draws. Like, it's just unfortunate that every single hatch was on the top of the deck. That made this fight just extremely hard. Thankfully, we do have ways to get rid of hatch on Grukli's top of deck, so we shouldn't have to worry about it too much there. We do have maximum spiders out, although we do redraw into the hatch, which is just, how it goes. So we actually end up going to round 3 here, but thankfully that's still excellent. Excuse me. That is still excellent this far into the game, or the map. And I actually go into round 4, man. Yeah, so we're not going to be getting excellence at all, because these spiders just keep appearing. So we don't get the maximum card rewards here. A little bit unfortunate, but I am happy to have that free upgrade. We, again, don't have infinite shards, and we're going to be making use of all the ones that we do have. So we get Bloodbath upgraded on Bree, because I'm like, man, I'm really going to use that at some point, even though I really haven't found a reason to use it. And I also don't have the bleed weapon anymore, so the bleed on enemies is actually really light. In retrospect, I should have just not upgraded that at all and gone for something else, but that's retrospect. This boss, I'm not too worried about. He does a lot of damage on turn 2. And we got a really good round 1 with Bree, where she didn't get her block card straight away, so we're going to have a good round 2 block for sure. And then I'm also pretty certain I'm going to be able to kill this boss on round 2 if I get the double up on Carnage. So yeah, round 1 he does a fair amount of damage, but nothing that we can't handle. And round 2, we're drawing a fair amount of premium meats now. I would like it if those Ash Storms weren't on top of the deck. We get the Command and Conquer there, so we're powerful up for sure. We have a lot of damage mitigation. We didn't actually get to a lot of block, but we did get a good amount of block. Yogger's able to kill one of the spikes with Carnage, which was nice. It meant that Grukli didn't have to do that. And Leanti kills the other spike, so now I can focus on using Carnage multiple times here with the combination of duplication and playing it again. We pick up a Devastate and we have a last reward as well, so I need to change that Devastate to be Fury based. Here it was hard to decide, but I ended up taking a Lava Crystal on Grukli. That way we can for sure get rid of the War Banner on Bree. So now I find a Fountain Pen on Bree, which is the best weapon she can find. Battle Plan is a book. It's the one book warriors have, and it shows up in your opening hand, and then it'll apply Inspire to the entire team, and it's something that Bree just always wants anyways, because it's free in her opening hand. I mean, it's free anytime she draws it, just regularly. So there's all my decks, end of Act 2, and here's all my money spent and shards spent in the start of this act. I did not make my decks as efficient as possible, going down to 15. That said, I didn't do that for everyone except for Grukli, because I want Grukli to have a very specific opening hand. We got Battle Plan upgraded to the right thing on Yogger. We have Last Stand upgraded on Yogger as well, which is really nice. We did buy that Whirlwind. That is where a lot of our shards went. We forgot to change Devastate to Fury, which I'm going to be sad about later. And we changed Last Rewards to make sure that it picked out of our discard pile. We also picked up Captivating Voice so that we can have Stanza a little bit later on for the Battle Ballads, because if we go past round 2, basically, Andrin will have no Stanza, meaning he can't play Battle Ballad ever again, and it's a pointless card in the deck. We did buy that Fountain Pen, and we bought Avoidance Collar on Yogger so that he could have a little bit more survivability, which was pretty nice. Here's deciding whether I wanted to face a monk or a fire guy. I figured the monk is actually going to be a little bit easier to take out, and it offers a purple last reward. However, revenge is very scary. Whenever we play attack, we're going to be giving all monsters fury. They also have a lot more resistances to all physical. So yeah, the goal is going to actually be not play too many attacks on round 1 and just wombo combo kill them on round 2. When I'm sure that I can kill them. Their extra resistances make it so that we're going to have a hard time killing them on round 1. Yeah. Like, there's a way that you could potentially do it and not have to worry, but I ended up playing attacks here because I was not really thinking about, like, all the fury being too much of a problem. I'm like, I'll be fine. I was not fine. They do a lot of damage with Fury, it turns out. So, did have to restart this combat. I wanted to show that off because I felt like this team was pretty secure. Like, I felt like I had everything in the bag. I took this challenge and I was like, man, turns out with bad play, you can still really mess things up. So, yeah, don't play the attacks turn 1 here. At least with the hand that we were given. It definitely just wasn't good enough. Something that I would have liked to have in Andrin's deck at this point was another Trace. I kind of forgot to buy it, to be honest. A Trace that targets any hero, so I could get rid of top 5 cards of Grukli's deck and make sure that he's drawing into his Whirlwind turn 1. We go very low here regardless, even without giving them all that Fury on both Bree and Grukli, so a little bit scary, but ultimately we can recover because we can get rid of Grukli's Bree, or Bleed. We can't get rid of Grukli's Bree. We need Bree. We can apply a good amount of mark to the entire enemy team here, as well as give a good amount of sharp to Grukli. Despite all of our sharp on the prior turn being turned into, I think it was Bleed. Yeah, by the gun guy. Gun guys are very annoying. Means that Grukli's going to be doing a lot less damage this turn. Thankfully, we got the recover card on Bree, so she's going to be able to heal up the entire team very nicely here. Basically back to full, which is fantastic. And we're going to be duplicating that Whirlwind. And yeah, double Whirlwind is pretty much enough. We have the Devastate. I realized there that it is not upgraded to the one that I want it to be. We get another repetition training on Grukli. And we also have an Enrage on Yogger. Wish I could find more Enrages because I do need more energy on everybody at this point. I end up playing my, what's it called? Mark enchantment here. So we get a decent amount of mark on everybody. And my plan is to Whirlwind on round 1 and get the kill. That is generally my plan going forward if we don't have any like super difficult fights. So we have 20 sharp, 7 powerful. No Fury just yet, but Grukli will be applying Fury to himself. 1, because of his passive every start of the turn, and 2, for every 2 skills and 2 weapons he plays at each turn. So we should have more than enough Fury, plus the Vigorous Fury could be very solid. So we do double Whirlwind here, and that almost takes everybody out. I am able to recall a Fast Strike for 0 and play the last, attack for 3. I forget what it's called, repetition training or attack, I don't know, not repetition training. Here, pacifism is a little bit annoying, so I'm not going to take it because I just didn't want to deal with it. Could I have won? It's arguable. Because we're killing a lot of times round 2, and they would have a lot of more physical resistance, meaning it was even less likely I kill round 1, I decided not to go for it. At this point, you probably could have a fully consistent deck where Grukli always goes with the Piercing Howl, but not the Piercing Howl, the Whirlwind on turn 1 and doubles it up. but I didn't go for that largely because it has a less good maximum, I feel like, in the later game, and that's what I was focused on. Here we do end up killing round 1, but keep in mind they didn't have those extra resistances. We also find the Straw Hat. There's a lot of good cards in here. I wish I could take Endless Bag on Bree, but Bree's also going to be my Straw Hat target because I don't want Andrin losing his speed armor, and I want him to have speed armor opportunities later on. All our accessory slots are taken up for everybody else, so we don't get that. We do level up because Straw Hat is awesome. We do go for the Fury on Grukli. I almost take the Tireless. I debated this for a long time, but ultimately, I thought Fury was going to be a bit better. We're playing Fury on himself mostly. We have Mark on Andrin, so now we should be able to mark up enemies very, very swiftly. We are going to go for the guy top fight because the guy on the bottom was immune to Mark, and that would make things harder. We get extra shards here. Here, I'm confident in taking pacifism now that we're level 5. And I think I'm going to be correct in that assumption. So we aren't able to apply a lot of mark that turn. I mean, we apply a decent amount of mark. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Is like we apply some mark anyways, just because Andrin's awesome with the enchantment. And we also apply a good amount of sharp instead. Sharp is more valuable than mark in many ways because we are upping Grukli's damage so much that with Fury and Powerful and all that other stuff, that sharp is going to end up doing a lot more. We had a Devastate there. Man, if Devastate was applying Fury, that would be great. It wasn't, but that was totally fine. Another reason why Carnage can be used to duplicate instead. The shop that we got did end up giving us an Endless Bag for Bree anyways, which was pretty solid, since we don't need that powerful card anymore that she was carrying around. By a powerful card, I do mean the powerful War Banner. We super don't need it. We almost don't need Straw Hats with how often we're playing this Ballad of Conquest here. Not that Ballad of Conquest is our best opening turn on Andrin, but it is pretty solid. Having more mark on all these enemies probably would have been even better. We could probably, with the right hand, you might be able to get up to 50 mark on both the giants here, or the twins, which would probably let me kill them on round 1. Though it's arguable because I wouldn't have as much sharp on Grukli, and like I just said, sharp was doing more. But these guys have really high physical resistances, so reducing that slash resistance is a little bit more important, specifically against these guys. We do have the improved meat, the gourmet meat from Yogger, so we're getting a lot more energized on everybody at this point, which also increases all our stacks of everything by 20%. So here I'm trying to figure out if I can get the kill round 1 and what the best way to do that would be. We did draw into Dual Wield, which was really nice so that we can double up on Whirlwind. I figured Whirlwind was probably going to be doing the most damage here. I could have been wrong about that, but we're going to be maxing that out. It does give us up to 90 Fury, which was pretty close, and I didn't have enough energy left over to get the kill here, so we do have to go into round 2 instead of killing these guys round 1. Of course, getting this guy up to 50 mark on this turn, and I'm going to go way into overkill, get a second mark enchantment, which doesn't do anything if you apply it on the same turn that you already have it. Play 2 Ballad of Conquest. I'm like popping off with Andrin because I wanted to show that his deck could pop off, and then I just kill with Bree because Bree could easily get the kill there with the Carnage. Oh man. So here we do find a really good the 1. So of course reference to the 1 ring. Gives speed, regeneration, gives stealth at the combat start, and a little bit of insanity. Very, very much a classic reference to the 1 ring. Yeah, here I don't take Cold Hands because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to filter on Grukli's deck because, again, I didn't take Trace. If I had taken Trace, I could have easily taken Cold Hands because nobody else is doing damage except for Grukli. And we could have gotten rid of that top card, which would have made all his damage Frost. So, yeah, a little bit of whoopsies there's. The purple sharp on Bree is really nice. We get that 6 sharp on Grukli. Scales him up a lot faster. We didn't get a really good hand though, unfortunately, so we just do Carnage, do basically what damage I can. We go for a little bit of a defensive play here because I figure going into round 2 is not going to be that big of a deal, and we're going to have a lot of time to get that excellent. So I opted to try and not take as much damage as possible, though we're still going to be doing some damage because we have extra energy. I figured it'd be okay. Those Blood Rages are definitely nice for us to be able to play these Whirlwinds. It was one good card thing that we kept getting for Grukli, even though we didn't get any Carnages or Whirlwinds naturally. We did get one, I think we got both repetition trainings through card reward too, which was pretty nice. So I guess we got a little bit lucky, but not like super lucky. Everybody else's decks were kind of like, okay. Here we get a purple enrage on Grukli, which is fantastic because it gives him 8 fury. So really appreciate that. We are doing the final removals here. I wasn't sure if I needed Captivating Voice or not, but I thought I might need it for the clones. That's the whole reason it's in this deck in the first place, is if I go up against a super fast enemy that I desperately need to slow by like 4, which, spoilers, it's necessary. Keep that Captivating Voice. I bought it for a reason, not just the stanza. We get rid of the attacks in Bree's deck, because at this point I'm just done with pretending that I'm going with attacky Bree and that she's going to be doing any form of meaningful damage in the late game, despite her being able to do some meaningful damage in some earlier fights. We don't really need it with Grukli. Grukli can carry all by himself. The whole team is on his back. I do want to change that Devastate to apply Fury. Thankfully, we have one more chance to do it. I'm trying to make his deck down to 15 so that we have the right amount of cards, but I couldn't figure out what cards I wanted to get rid of. I really just want that dual wield turn every time. So, yeah. Here, we don't get lucky, the price gets increased, but that's okay. I had enough shards where I wasn't really worried about a price increase. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have even tried it, because I could have, like, upgraded most of my things without a price increase. But as it stands, I could upgrade most of my things except for like the Omniscience, or whatever, not Omniscience, whatever the Warriors want. Omnipotence, of course. Mages are omniscient, warriors are omnipotent, yes. Or omnipotent, as some people say. Not me though, I usually like omnipotent. But yeah. So it's pretty good. I don't need the money or the card removal, but I can take it because I'm so powerful. I feel pretty solid. The boss was immune to slow anyway, so it wasn't going to make too much of a difference in either case. We do have enough speed to get over the 20 base speed of the fastest enemy here, which was another reason I felt like Sub-Zero wasn't a huge deal. Probably something you only know if you play this game a ton, is the base speeds of enemies. But yes. This is something I wasn't really concerned about because we have a really good deck now. Omnipotence is going to make it so that Yogger can basically find all the cards that he wants. So we definitely always have that 7 vulnerability. We have a ton of mark on all these enemies here. So they're going to be taking a lot of extra slashing damage, as well as just a lot of damage in general for every form of mark they have on them. So the double whirlwind, usually enough. But on certain turns we play triple whirlwind. Eviscerate's very tempting on Andrin here. Completely unnecessary, but very tempting. And yeah, I thought about taking that Carnage on Bree, but I had already made up my mind that Bree wasn't going to do any damage anymore. So here we give Grukli the little voice command on handcheck. And yeah, voice command. No, the little response to a handcheck. So we did take Catharsis. Or sorry, Catharsis is one of the nice things that we get from the Straw Hat event. It gives extra energy to all our heroes. Every time they draw, it gives them Dispel. We did take Enlightenment on Grukli rather than giving everybody 15 HP. I mean, what's 15 HP when all your enemies are dead? And one more energy plus a little bit of Inspire is kind of nice to have. Oh, it gives a 2 Bless as well. So, you know, that 2 Bless of extra damage on Grukli. Really going to come in clutch. Something that we need for sure. Like I said, I am planning to kill Handcheck before he can kill our pets. The only question is, what's the best way to do that? Really, we want to see a double up on Carnage here for Yogger. We don't, or not Yogger, on Grukli. And we want Grukli to have as much sharp as possible on round 1, because this is the round where we're not going to have to deal with clones being in the way. So we are able to get up to a lot of Fury. We do Devastate up here because we want to grab as much Fury as possible. That's one of the reasons that Devastate's so good in Grukli's deck. I don't think I had it on a prior run. We are able to play Carnage 4 times here, which was great, but not quite enough. We get him down to 3,800 health. With the right hand, you could probably or the right hands, where we get him up to 50 mark on turn 1. We probably could have gotten the kill there. As well as a good amount of yeah, if we could have gotten a good amount of sharp. Again, Bree going first would have just been better in like all cases here. Yeah. So maybe I should have given that speed ring to her. in the very beginning. But we do have the 1 ring on her, which means that she gets extra energy every turn. So it's kind of nice. We are going to get up to max sharp on Grukli. Here we now have to just worry about the clones a bit. I want to get as much energized as possible on Grukli. Card draw is no longer a concern. We are at maximum card draw on everybody. We're up to 7 Inspire on Yogger, which is, 2 more than necessary, as well as 5 Inspire on everybody else. We do get those gourmet meats popping off though, so Grukli's going to be at 100 Fury, 50 Sharp, 12 Bless? Damn, 12 Bless. Pretty decent as is. We're trying to get the clones down as much as possible, just so that if they do get in the way, they die fast. And yeah, Grukli's going to have 9 energy here. We have Onslaught. So I do have a double up Devastate, which actually just a singular Devastate at max does more than enough damage to kill Handshake at 751 a pop. So does end up living up to its name, where it is devastating. Kind of sad turn here, turn 1 on Archon, but I'm not really planning to kill him turn 1. I'm planning to kill him turn 2 through the clone, because the clone only adds an extra 1200 health I have to get through, which isn't a big deal once you're at 100 Fury. And I do have very consistent ways to get to 100 Fury. And then we're also going to be having Sharp. Now, the clone would be a problem if they got to go, but Andrin is thankfully faster, so this is one of the reasons that I was happy to have my speed items on Andrin the way that I had him. Otherwise, this fight might have gone to round 3. Oh, man. What a tragedy that would have been. But here we do have the dual wield combo if we really want to do it. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because I'm not going to have the strongest turn here. We could have gotten him very low, probably like half his health down. But I figured I wanted to just get up to max Fury, play entirely into the second round, so we go up to 77 Fury there. We play a lot of our cards without playing dual wield. We play Carnage twice. We get him down to 2/3 of his health, just about, and that sets him up very nicely for dying. Here we do get the Captivating Voice to set the clone down slow enough so that we can actually go before it. We will have Helping Hands to speed up Grukli, so you get rid of that one slow, and Grukli is of course going to get up to 50 Sharp with these Ballad of Conquest. We are also getting up to 50 mark on the boss here. Arguably getting up to 50 mark turn 1 might have made it so I could kill with Grukli. Yeah, I don't know. Andrin's deck was a little bit funky. I don't know if I ended up needing the Sharp or the Ballad of Conquest, or if that whole play was actually just a misdirection and made things harder than they needed to be, because I think I had the damage on turn 1. Now, the boss is extra resistant to slashing damage. On this very turn, he gets 50% extra resistances because of his enchantment that he puts on himself. So this is one of the harder turns to hit through him. Thankfully, we aren't worried too much about his resistances because we have 50 mark on him. And we also have 7 vulnerability, which is 8% per slashing resistance. So we're lowering it quite a bit, or really as much as we can. At this point, Yogger has 38 Sharp on him and is doing a significant amount of damage. We almost get the kill there with Liati on the clone, but not quite. And yeah, we did find our Carnage. That's the main thing I was looking for. I don't need Devastate, I just need dual up on Carnage. I'm going to Fast Strike to get rid of the clone first so that all the Carnage strikes go on the boss. We're going to play Carnage 4 times here, and 4 times is enough to kill this boss. So round 2. Not a round 3 kill on the boss, which is faster than normal, though I have killed him turn 1 before with Grukli. So, again, maybe a little bit better play. I could have done more here. That said, very happy with this run. So I hope whoever was looking for that Grukli run also enjoyed it and got to see a little bit of what we had. Yeah, I'm laughing at our starting armor on Andrin here. Again, very few speed items outside the... I guess we got 3 speed rings. We got the 1 ring, the Lapis necklace, and then the Amulet of Speed. But would have been nice to have some speed armors at all. Going over all our decks again at the very end, just so everybody could see the final deck edits, as well as the stats I will bring up very shortly. If you did enjoy this run, please consider leaving a like. It really helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. I'd love to have more people comment in the future. If you want a run done, let me know. I'll probably get around to it at some point, though I have my own challenge runs I'm trying to complete at some point soon here. You might have seen them in the perks section. But for now, I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and goodbye.